Hey guys, Pie Guy Rules here, and iCarly is over. They aired the finale, iGoodbye, and I think this would be a good time to not only review the latest episode, but kind of talk about the series as a whole, about what made it work, what made it not work, and I want to start off by saying, look, the show definitely had some bad things about it. There were definitely some things that I would have done completely different. Take, for example, the fact that Nickelodeon airs it nonstop. Not that that's the show's fault, it's more Nickelodeon's fault. But there's also the problem that Sam occasionally falls into complete monster territory with her treatment of Freddy and some other characters. Like, seriously, she can be downright abusive, and I know it's played for comedy, but there's times when really you look at her and are like, sometimes she's really nice, and then sometimes she's just complete monster and just awful, and you're supposed to take it as laughs, but it's not funny. Especially considering she does it to someone who she would later be in a relationship with, which gets me to the next problem of the whole Sam-Freddy thing, and with Carly on the side wanting to know about their relationship, and that entire plot line is just stupid and annoying that it took over the show. This isn't Degrassi. I don't care about these characters being in relationships. I just want to see them be funny. And when this relationship drama takes over the whole show, it's just plain stupid. And the creator has gone on record saying that he didn't want the show to be about shipping. There's even an episode called I Start a Fan War, which is about how people are shipping the two and how it causes a fan war. And it's stupid. And lastly, the show has been known to fall for some ridiculously stupid plots. Like, the Fred episode, that's really stupid, including the fact that Freddy is basically beaten by Sam into liking Fred, despite having legitimate reasons for not liking him in the first place. There's the Bigfoot episode, where it's all about finding Bigfoot, and oh, there was no Bigfoot, but oh, was there really a Bigfoot? Really stupid and played out. There's the I Hatch Chicks episode, which was really just dull, and why? You're a show about a web show, just why? And similar plots like that. But let me just say, for all its stupid episodes, for all its annoying tics with certain characters, there is a lot of good things about this show, and it's not the worst thing out there. It's one of the better live-action shows that airs on a kids' television network now. Or I guess it did. It was, yeah. It's past tense now. It's kind of hard to believe, isn't it? But it was one of the better ones. Some of the dialogue between characters is just absolutely hilarious, and they gel on a level that only Dan Schneider knows how to make them gel. It's weird and hard to explain, but in Dan Schneider's shows, like, he just makes the characters weird, and I can relate to that, being a weird person in general, and I'm sure a lot of other kids can relate to that. Most kids consider themselves weird, and that's totally fine. Talking in a way that's not normal is totally cool. Like, I like his dialogues, that they're very cool between characters, and some of the acting in the show is pretty good. As much as I don't like Sam, I do like Jeanette McCurdy, and in some moments, she can play a really good character. Same thing for all of them. Spencer, hey, we knew he could act insane from Crazy Steve. He does a great job of being off the wall here. And Freddy plays an awesome techie, and like the way he gets annoyed at his mom, incredibly realistic. The original premise of the whole web show thing, come on, it's pretty clever. Look, Nickelodeon has a lot of shows about kids who are trying to be or already famous, but this is the only one about a web show. It's kind of unique and kind of interesting, and something that I can at least relate to. Granted, it's not always portrayed very realistically. Like, for instance, I don't know anyone who's been flown to Japan to win a web award, but regardless, it is still an interesting concept on a network that, well, let's face it, is fresh out of them. So, looking back, would I say that I liked iCarly? More or less. If I were to give it a rating on like a 1 to 10 scale, I'd give it maybe a 6. But then again, I'm one of those people who consider 5 to be like exactly middle of the road. So, I would say that the show's slightly above average. Definitely not bad for anyone who likes it. I can totally see a lot of problems with it, so if you don't like it, I can see that too. So now on to iGoodbye, the iCarly finale. What did I think of it? I thought it was pretty good, especially for a finale. I wish a lot of shows did finales the way that this show did. And I wish that a lot of networks promoted finales like Nickelodeon did to this show. Nickelodeon promoted the heck out of it. And I even saw someone on Twitter saying, wow, Nickelodeon, you really promoting this iCarly finale. I bet you're not going to promote it as much for the, I forget what show they mentioned, Tough Puppy or something, finale. And it's true, this show got a lot of fanfare, and for good reason, it had a lot of viewers. Now, the actual episode, you could probably cut about half of it out. Only about half of it is, let's say, relevant. The bad parts, in my opinion, the Gibby stuff. Okay, I don't know much about this Gibby character. I stopped watching the show probably like season 2. I stopped watching it right when he started to come on, and at times he can be pretty funny with his whole breaking the genre, like when Carly, like, instead of paying attention to Carly like all the other characters because she's the main character, he'll be doing something else because that's what a normal human would probably be doing instead of paying all attention to this one main character. He's genre aware sometimes, but I mean, especially his little side plot here about how he wants to make a replica of his skull, of his head, his face, not his skull, but he wants to make a replica of his face, and so he goes to a kiosk at the mall and gets his head stuck in this face machine, and then, it gets stuck, and there's all sorts of shenanigans. It felt very tacked on, and he ends up with a weasel that I assume is going to set up some kind of a thing in his own series where he has a weasel and he's friends with it, and I don't know. But, yeah, that whole thing felt very, I don't know, out of place in the finale, and Gibby didn't even really gel too well with the rest of the cast. Like, I mean, I know he's kind of like the sixth ranger of the group, in that he's, like, kind of a part of the main group, but not a part of the main group. And he is a main character, so I don't know. But that's my fascination with this Gibby character. I guess we'll explore it a little bit more when it comes to the Gibby show. But as far as the rest of the characters, I didn't particularly like Freddy's subplot about what is it? I think they're parodying like the new mini iPad. But the problem with that parody is the fact that the mini iPad isn't a phone. It's just an iPad. And it's a recurring joke that gets a little bit old towards the end. And he doesn't actually do too much in this finale, to be quite honest. Sam has a big part, and obviously, as she's Carly's best friend. But she's actually has more screen time with Spencer, of all people, because of the motorcycle thing. And it was a little bit obvious that Spencer was going to give the motorcycle to Sam, because they spent half the episode working on this motorcycle, and then for Spencer's friend, and then Spencer's friend doesn't want to give the motorcycle to his cousin for his birthday, so Spencer ends up being able to keep the motorcycle, and yeah, it was a little bit predictable. And all the side characters get thrown in there too, or at least the ones that I could recognize. There was the smoothie guy, there was Freddy's mom, they had Lieutenant Shay, which is Carly's dad, which I don't think you ever see him in the series, which kind of serves as a nice, good finale point. So Carly's main plot is the fact that she wants to go to this daddy-daughter dance for daughters of dads who are in the military. And she wanted her dad to come like he always does, but he's not coming, and she's very sad about this, obviously. And she spends like the first act just wailing and wailing, and then Spencer agrees to go with her, but Spencer gets sick, which is a little bit weird considering he gets sick because of Lubert, who's also in this and quite funny still. He gets sick because of Lubert and can't go to the dance, but as soon as that plot's done, or when that plot's not being mentioned, like when the motorcycle plot's going on, he's like barely sick. Like he barely acts sick. So it's obviously just an excuse plot point right there, which is a little bit irritating. But yeah, eventually her dad does show up and takes her to the dance, and happy times, yay. And the whole thing is that her dad comes up with the idea to take Carly back to Italy with him, which is something that he should have probably like called ahead and told her, because she would probably have to like pack and stuff. I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there. But no, spontaneous trip to Italy to live there for like at least a year. Carly goes along with it, and so they have to say their goodbyes and have one last iCarly episode. I mean, like episode of iCarly, not the show episode, like the web show within the show. Also of note is the fact that iCarly is able to do something that like no other TV show can legitimately do in universe, in the fact that the main character actually said goodbye to all the fans of its own show. I mean, technically she was referring to the iCarly web show, but her direct saying goodbye could also translate to her actually saying goodbye to the show iCarly, like Miranda Cosgrove saying it to the show. And we get some familiar bits like Baby Spencer and stuff, and it's sweet. And then after the in-show episode of iCarly, we get a really sweet ending. Like, all the characters hug, and then they all think about the past of iCarly and have, like, flashbacks to different episodes of the show and the web show within the show. And it's a very sweet ending. And they even say earlier the fact that the internet will still be there, so it's not the last episode of iCarly. She will come back to it. Not the show, the web show within the show. So it's not that sad. And yeah, all the characters kind of have their thoughts about have their flashbacks, and then it ends. There's also a weird cameo thing that Dan Schneider likes to do. Like, he did it with the movie titles in Drake and Josh on the premiere. But he did it here where on Carly's laptop, before she pulls up the iCarly website, there's a fake Twitter thing, and it has Dan Warp on it, and it has him saying, like, thanks to everyone for watching iCarly. So, nice little Easter egg there.
Oh, yeah, and Carly kisses Freddy, which, if you ignore all the relationship-y stuff in the show, you can just kind of assume that it's a nice little nod to how Freddy was crushing on Carly, especially early in the show, and it's kind of a nice pity kiss before she leaves for years.
But yeah, the finale did what any good finale should. It kept some of the feel of the show like it was just a regular episode, while adding in some extra things that you wouldn't have seen in an episode, like Carly's dad. They resolved some mysteries about the show. For instance, Gibby informs us the fact that the elevator does indeed stop on other people's houses. I always found that kind of weird that the elevator was just, like, inside her apartment. Like, any apartment that I've seen has, like, an elevator in the hallway, and it's communal, but apparently you can just go into anyone's apartment suite in this, so I don't know if that's real life in some apartments, but that's what it is in the show. But I'm getting off track. It had a very sweet ending. It didn't feel rushed or anything. It didn't feel forced. I mean, it was a little weird that she spontaneously went to Italy, but hey, it's a TV show, so it kind of had a clear ending, and that's really good. So, overall, the finale was really good, and the show was above average. That's about all I have to say. Pie Guy Rules, out.